The beginning is a very delicate time. Welcome to the IMAET Nation. It is our passion and purpose finding answers to our most challenging health concerns. My journey as a scientist and energy healer have led me here, to the place where science and spirituality converge. This is where the answers are that unlock the full potential of the physiology. We do not accept dead-end diagnoses. We do not tolerate limitations. It is our birthright to live healthy, vibrant lives, and we are taking that back. Thank you for being here with me. Hello! Welcome to the IMAET Nation. I'm so pleased that you're here. I'm so thrilled that you have your own IMAET, or it's in the mail on the way. Either way, this series of videos is meant to get you in the driver's seat of your IMAET as quickly and effectively as possible. And I want to reference right up front, any questions additional, please reach out to support@imatenation.com. We have a dedicated team ready and waiting to answer any questions that you might have. Okay, so this video is a short, quick start tech video that will help you understand a few intricacies of the software, the computer, and how to get help if you're having glitches with either. So this is a Microsoft computer, and people who are used to using Mac computers will find that there are a few things that if you learn right up front will make this whole process a lot easier. So we're going to go over some of those things right away. So whether you have your IMAET open in front of you and you're going to follow along with me, or it's in the mail on the way, you'll have access to these videos as long as you need them. So the first thing to point out is that these computers do not need to be connected to Wi-Fi for the software to work. It's one of the reasons I love this software system. I don't like to have my computers connected to the internet, especially the IMAET, and it works just as effectively. It does not need the internet to work at all. So mostly I keep mine in airplane mode, but there are a couple reasons why you'll want to turn it on. So if you can see down here on the right hand screen, this is obviously where we would turn the Wi-Fi on and turn airplane mode off. And the first thing to point out, the first reason to do this is that these computers do need to be updated every 10 days to 2 weeks. If you don't do that, then you will start to find glitches and error codes within the software program. So if you start to see those come up, you realize you haven't done an update in a while, this is what you would need to do. And it's not a bad idea when you unbox your IMAET. It shouldn't need an update, but it's not a bad idea to check. So first we make sure that we do have Wi-Fi on, we have airplane mode off, and we're going to come down here in the search bar, put the cursor in the search bar, and right here you're going to see this button, check for updates. Now, sometimes the computer, if you do have it on to use, because obviously you can for any reason, check your email, it will flag down here that an update is needed. There will be a little orange ball with an arrow. But if it's not on Wi-Fi, you may not see that. So it's a good idea every 2 weeks at least to turn it on, check for the updates. And once you click that button, it will tell you whether there are updates available, and you download and install them, restart the computer right there. So again, not a bad idea to do it right when you unbox, but if you are having glitches or error codes or it's running slow, that's a great time to check and see if you need an update. Now, beyond that, if you do the update and you're still having glitchy issues, anything with the software at all, IMAET has an amazing customer support team, and they are available to help us with any issues like this. So you would already have received a startup guide to your email, and this information would be in there. Adrienne has a link to get onto her calendar. She is the customer support rep at IMAET headquarters that will help solve these problems. So how this works is you'll click on that link and it takes you right to her calendar. You'll schedule yourself on her calendar. It's a half an hour time slot, Eastern time, but she gets it done very quickly, usually within 10-15 minutes. Just a half an hour is blocked off just in case. So you set the time on the calendar, you'll get a reminder to your email. Then at the time of your support appointment, you'll need to have this app here AnyViewer already opened. Now your computer should come with this already downloaded on it. If it is not, then you will need to just turn reception on, turn Wi-Fi on, go to Google and just find the AnyViewer app and download it. So at the time of your appointment, Adrian or one of the other customer support techs will call and ask you for a code that will be on the screen once you open the AnyViewer app. So open this ahead of time, and there will be an ID and a code that she will need to take remote control of your computer. Obviously, you'll need to have Wi-Fi on for this as well. And then when you make the appointment prior, you'll be able to put in the description what the problem is. You can always describe it on the phone when they do reach out to you right as the appointment is getting started. And they're amazing, and they can go in and fix the glitches and help you understand why it's happening and what you can do to prevent it from happening in the future. Okay, so those are just two important tech things. Then the next step is, okay, let's get going. Let's open the program and see how we get started. So once you've got your IMAET powered up and the screen on, this is the icon that we click. So I'm just going to minimize my photo for a second. So this is the IMAET logo. We double click this and the program opens. All right, so this is the main screen. The password is the number 1. And then we're going to press login and start session. This brings you to the main client profile page. Now, clearly I have many people in my IMAET, but this should be blank for you. So there's a lot going on this main navigation page. Not all of it needs to be addressed right up front. The software is designed to be effective for a variety of people, a mom, a scientist, a doctor. So the variability here is available for lots of things. For example, you can put a client picture in here. You don't have to. You can click this health history button and input information there. You don't have to do that either. If you're just wanting to get in and get going and get started, what you'll need to do is just hit this button at the top, New Client. So this is where we're going to input the first person, which you should put yourself in first. Always put your mask on first before you're saving other people, right? So the new client, I'm obviously already in here, so we'll make a pretend client. So once you click New Client, you'll see that all this information should be blank. So in the last name, Smith. First name, John. Okay, so you're putting someone's last name and first name in here. It's important to note this needs to be their legal first and last name. So that's important information to get. We are needing to connect with a specific person, and any person's frequency is based off of a handful of truths, right? So whether someone has gotten married but hasn't changed their maiden name yet, this is important because legally their name is still what it is legally. So it's important to ask this up front. Legal first and last name. And then we have gender over here, human male, human female, and pet male and pet female. Yes, we can work on our pets. Then you're going to need the birth date of this person. So we can just make this up. Forgot to pick human male. Okay, birthplace. Okay, you'll want the city and the state. Now, time of birth. If the time of birth is known, this is helpful, but it's not necessary. The more pieces of information we have, the better. But this one is not absolutely essential. We have a slot for phone number, and we have a slot for email. This is also important to note that if you're working on a child, you don't want to put the parent's phone number or the parent's email. Definitely a mistake I made in the beginning, because that doesn't belong to them. These need to be pieces of information that definitely belong to each person. So if it's a child, leave it blank. If it's a pet, obviously, leave it blank. But if there is a phone number, We want to input it here. And then we need a home address. Okay, so this is all the information that I have for this person. I don't have a phone number, I don't have a time of birth or an email address. That's okay. This is bare minimum what is needed. You do need first and last name. We do need a birth date, birthplace. Of course, there are going to be situations where, what if you don't know someone's birthplace? That definitely can happen. In that case, we want to put a phone number in or an email in. We want to just give it as much information as we possibly can. Okay, so once we have all the information input here, we want to make sure to save. Make sure to save this person in here. Otherwise, when you get back in, the information won't be here. And then as you're getting started, you should only have one person in here. But when you have more people, always make sure you're on the right person. Made that mistake before, working on the wrong person. That's never a good idea. So here we are. We can see this is the person that we just uploaded and we have already saved. And we are looking down here at previous visits. This is today's date. All the previous visits will be here. So if there is a previous visit, you always want to make sure to hit follow-up visit. So this will be any time other than the first time you're getting in right now. In a week, you want to get in, work on yourself or this or another person you have in here. Always make sure to hit follow-up visit and eyeball that is today's date. Once we have this, now we're going to hit the calibration button. This is the calibration of the IMAET, and it has a wonderful sound to it. I have it turned down just so that you can still hear me, but this is one of the magical parts of the software. So this is connecting to the specific frequency of the person that you have in the client profile. And this takes longer, sometimes shorter. Why that happens, there are theories around that, but regardless, this will just keep happening until we come to this screen. So once it hits here, the software is now calibrated to that person. Okay, so this is the main navigation screen. So what I want to do for the end of this video, wanted to get you up and running and in and calibrated, understanding how to input clients, and then I'm going to take you to the very first thing we always do. And then from there, we're going to have the follow-up training videos will be specific for each purpose. So once we calibrate and we come to this screen, we can see brain right here in the middle. So we want to double click on brain, and I'm going to go through all of those other areas. This is the first place we go every time, no matter what. Whether we're coming in to do a treatment, whether we're coming in to find answers, we want to come here first to the brain. And right here in the middle, you can see brain harmonic balance bioscan. So we want to click the bioscan button. What this is doing is it's assessing whether all four quadrants of the brain are communicating or whether they're not. And mostly they're not. Our world is toxic, our brains are foggy. I haven't yet found someone whose brain is 100% perfectly communicating. So once this bioscan in progress is done, this is how most people's brains look, that the quadrants are not communicating. So we want to connect that first, always first, before we do anything else. So our pretend client here, we can see that none of the parts of his brain are connected and communicating. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply feedback here with this blue button. And you can see the bars going towards the middle. And again, sometimes this takes longer than other times. Don't worry too much about that. If you get to this screen and you open it and you already see this here, this is a common thing that happens. You get in and this is already closed like this. That likely means that you didn't do a new visit. This is another really important time to point out. After every session, you need to fully exit out of the program. So that main blue screen that first popped up after we clicked on the IMAET icon, X out of that as well and go back to the main Microsoft screen. If you don't fully exit every time, it will still think you're in the last visit, even if you go to a new person. So if you see this here, it means you either didn't do a follow-up visit or you didn't fully exit. But barring that, you come in. This is called closing the curtains, by the way. And now that the curtains are closed, the next thing we're going to do depends on why we are in the IMAET for this session. And it's very important how we proceed. Knowing why we're in, that will dictate how we move throughout the software. So I'm going to leave you with this for now. And with the next few videos, we'll be able to go through the other panels and explain why we go about it a certain way. Every panel will be explained. And again, if there's any additional questions at all, please reach out to support@imatenation.com. I'm so pleased to have you here. Can't wait to see you in the next video.